Here's what I wanted to title today's video, How to Make Silver Fast. That's what I wanted to make a video about, to teach people how can you make very fast silver so that you can afford the ever-rising cost of premium. It is also steadily rising on the East server. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to really make fast silver anymore, so let's talk about it. I'm going to give you a history lesson on how fast and easy it was to make silver back in the day compared to now, and where the game is currently going. First up is Yellow Zone dungeons, just regular solo dungeons, not even group dungeons. Back in 2020, every chest was worth anywhere from 5,000 if it was a crappy one, to over 700,000 silver. And you could bang out these dungeons in 1 minute and 45 seconds per floor, so you could run a whole lot of them per hour. Now here's the thing compared to the current state of the game, is that there were far more Yellow Zone dungeon spawns because there were no corrupted dungeons, there were no mists, so you didn't have those competing over the spawns on the map. And the maps were different. The maps have been redesigned since 2020, so they're all kind of different now, but back then there were way more dungeon spawns, so you can find solo dungeons so much faster. I have video evidence on my channel from that era showing just how profitable these things were. A jackpot is when you usually get a bunch of bags and capes, and because the black market was faster back in the day, you often got jackpots every hour, which were worth over 1 million silver. Now, this was a 2 million silver per hour farming method back in the day when you had premium active, and premium only cost 6 million silver at the time, which means you could have premium in 3 hours. In 2023, there are less solo Yellow Zone dungeon spawns due to all the other things taking up, room on the new maps, and you earn about 450,000 silver per hour with premium doing Yellow Zone dungeons, and that actually includes being faction flagged. That includes, you didn't faction flag back in the day because it was full loot PvP, which only a few crazy wacky people did. The credit card swiped and they got hunted down. Forgot to mention that. You did not faction flag back then. But this is also with using laborers, which I didn't have at the time in 2020. I didn't have those built up, so that was just raw loot. This is min-maxing everything possible. Still only makes 450,000 silver per hour. It's awful, it's terrible. And the reason why is the black market changes. Whenever you do solo dungeons, the black market barely trickles items into solo Yellow Zones. That was adjusted on SBI's side. Everyone has noticed this over the years. It's not just me. And yes, you can still get a jackpot every once in a while. You can still, very rarely, if the black market is really, dinging with jackpots, you can barely make 1 million per hour. But I haven't made 1 million per hour in Yellow Zone dungeons in over a month and a half. And I don't really count on it happening. I even run a bunch today just before filming this video. And they're not hitting. They're just dead. You pop open 10 chests, you have 0 loot in them. Just runes and some silver bags and some, relics and souls. No items. It took 10 freaking dungeons until I got one 4.1 helmet drop. And the reason for this is all the black market changes. So bring back the old black market. And premium now is 18 million, by the way, so 450,000 silver per hour, to get to 18 million, it's going to take you forever. So laborers and guilds in 2020 were interesting because laborers back then were worth anywhere from 50,000 to just like a crappy one, whereas blacksmith and fletchers were worth over 150,000 at tier 5. And for those that don't know, that don't watch the channel, I did a lot of videos on laborers. To get a tier 5 laborer can take you 7 to 10 days on average, depending on luck of if they get experience or not from generalist trophy journals. Which means every 7 to 10 days, you can have 50,000 silver times, well, I would say 24, because tier 5 housing each has 3 laborers, and then the guild hall has 15. You would upgrade your island once. And so for every guild hall you had, that was around, at the lowest point, 1.2 million silver every 10 days. So with 2 guild halls per month, you could just afford premium from just doing anything in the game. And if you had 10 guild halls, then you could afford way more premiums. And if you did Fletcher's and Blacksmith, you can triple that. It was insane. So another thing too is by having your own guild, everything that you did would level the guild up, and when the guild leveled up, you would get siphoned energy. This was taken away a while back. This was nerfed 3 to 4 times, and then it was eventually removed from guilds. So what everyone would do, after I made videos about it, of course, is they would make their own guild and not join some potato farming guild or some, CTA slave guild, and they would just withdraw the siphon energy from what they'd play, they'd run dungeons or whatever, and then they would sell the siphon energy and make millions of silver every month. It was just free money. It got paid, like, you could make a guild, and then, like, within 1 hour, it would be level 2, and that siphon energy would pay for the guild that you spent, the 100k, right? And also, building materials were cheaper back then, and it was way easier to construct housing, so you didn't pay as much as you do now, and, Tier 4 is still cheap as hell, but back then, Tier 5 was still cheap. Like, used to, the stone was a rising cost due to lack of interest of gathering. And speaking of gathering, well, besides that, journals were worth way more. If you gathered, people were buying journals for much, much more because the rewards were apparently better. I didn't really, turn in journals too much, but they were still worth a lot. And then gathering in 2020 was in its prime, which was, like, I could make over 1 million per hour as a lumberjack. But at some point, bots happened, and then the economy just kind of died, and then they didn't handle the bots for a while. It was like a good 6 months of just letting bots just destroy the economy. So in 2023, laborers are now only worth 15,000 to 25,000 each at Tier 5. A huge price drop, and they rarely ever sell. The cost to create a guild is over 1 million, and then apparently it's 3 million to just get the guild hall going, which I didn't put on the screen, which I should have. Man, that's expensive. That means, okay, here's the thing. Even if you min-max your guild halls and islands, it's a 4-month, it takes 4 months to return that investment from the island itself. But after that, you make about 1 million silver per month per guild island, so 4 months is a long time for most players. Most players are going to quit by then. Most players are going to get bored, they're going to stop, they're going to burn out. That puts you 4 months in debt, basically, whenever you make the guild island and the guild halls. So no one's doing it. Like on East, like right now on East, laborers are actually decent money, but that's not going to stick for long once people start doing it. But at the same time, it's a huge investment that most players aren't willing to do. Even me, I wouldn't even bother getting guild islands or guild halls in 2023. There's just no point. It's just too steep of an investment. You go way too far in debt. Journals are barely worth the cost. Again, I don't know about East. East is wild at the moment, but I wouldn't bother with journals unless you already have the guild islands because you're not making much more profit. Maybe if you're fishing, fishing journals are still kind of wild right now. They're about 75,000 at Tier 7 for like 37 minutes of your time, which is still not that good. Also, the gathering economy is in the dumps on West, except for Tier 4 hide and Tier 2 stone, which I don't, if you target farm those, you're doing okay. I don't know what it is in East because I haven't played East since 3 days after it opened. I'm sorry. Transporting. Now, I only had experience with potions and potion materials because I was a budding and rising potion crafter. So he would barely maybe die once out of 8 or 9 tries of transporting in 2020. Yeah, there were gankers back then too, but they weren't as prevalent, they weren't as organized, they weren't as, studious. They were, still learning the game, basically, and there wasn't as many of them. It was a shorter ride. This is the biggest one. It was a shorter ride to Caerleon on the old map. It took 3 minutes, 30 seconds to get there from Bridgewatch. I don't know about the other towns. I only did Bridgewatch stuff. And now it takes 9 minutes. Caerleon was also the potion capital, which means when you go to Caerleon, when you crafted potions, you crafted them at a bonus. This means that potions were plentiful and cheap there, and if you were to buy potions from Caerleon and take them to Bridgewatch, which was at the time the city where potions were the most expensive, also why I lived in Bridgewatch back in the day, it's huge profit. It was like is 8 million if I bought potions in Caerleon or crafted potions and then hauled them to Bridgewatch. And if I just bought potion materials, which are herbs, and the little enchanted crystal thingies, they're like essences. I bought those and then take them to Caerleon, and that was about 4 to 5 million per trip. When a trip only takes you 3 minutes 30 seconds, you just fully load up a bear and then you just haul it over. And because bears are hard to kill back then, they still are hard to kill. But now people are more knowledgeable, and the game has more tools for gankers than it did back in the day. Especially with 8.4 gear. Gankers are using 8.4 gear now. Oh boy. They melt your mount quick. Yeah, but other than that, you can still transport, and you can still do this with cooking materials, just not potion materials, because Brazilian is now the potion capital, and it takes like 15 minutes to get there from a yellow zone, and it could take forever to get there from you have to travel through the Avalon roads from Brazilian to get back to a royal city, so that's a completely random travel time. So the black market and just flipping in general in 2020, I wasn't the most experienced. I don't use the third-party programs that everyone else did, but there were huge third-party programs that people used in 2020, and partly this was good and bad. The good for black market is that people constantly fed the black market materials. This was mostly RMTers. They would haul mammoths worth of material or items to the black market to sell, the silver for real money, unfortunately. People aren't doing that as much anymore, mostly due to the gankers. Like, if you're on a mammoth and you're going through a red zone, you're dead. You're 100% dead. All right, flipping, on the other hand, it's probably about the same as it is now. I can probably make about 20 million silver every few days flipping if I open spreadsheets and do a lot of studious math and really hunker down. And I'm talking 2 days of gameplay time, not like, oh, in just 2 days, Lamau. No, I'm talking 48 hours of playtime to make 20 million silver. It was the same back then as it is now. I've tried it recently, and it's, again, the same. The black market in 2023, though, it's not being fed nearly as much. This is due to players buying things and just mass crafting, because people are leveling up crafting more these days than they did back in the day. It is a little easier to level these days due to the fame changes, but also the black market is not demanding as much stuff. For instance, a 7.3 bow of Badon over the course of 2 months only rose in price by 50,000 silver. So if you see a 7.3 bow of Badon drop, it means someone got really scammed when they sold it to the black market instead of to actual real players. Because it's going to take multiple millions of silver for it to be worth more than what the player market is demanding. So that's another issue. So in 2020, having a personal island and growing pretty much any crop on it would make you profit. It would make you more silver than what you paid for premium. So what you would do is, it was just free money. It was just free 1 to 2 extra million silver per month for just logging in and clicking on crops for a bit. It was easy. It was time. It wasn't time consuming. It was fun. It, had a little bit of a farm build feel to it. It's one of the main reasons I played this game, is just to do the farming. I didn't really care about the other stuff. So if you had 20 characters doing this, well, you would have about 25 free premiums from just the farming, which you could use to, fuel and feed your crafter if you wanted, which made even more silver, but I don't have that on screen. Let's say you had 100 farming alts, which I did. I have 100 islands, which are all useless now. But those 100 islands, had, 100 people farming crops on them, and that's 150 free premiums per month if I wanted to scale it even higher, but that's a lot of islands, that's hours worth of work per day farming virtual crops. And the prices of crops didn't go down, they didn't sink, they didn't drown or anything, they stayed afloat because of crafting. Nowadays, premium costs you more than what a crop growing alt will make, making crop growing completely pointless for alt characters. You can still do it on your main character, but you're better off just crafting something with the focus instead. And you could say, well, you're better off crafting with focus on all of those alt characters. Yes and no. If you want to do the math and the spreadsheeting, sure, but if you just want to log in for a couple minutes, water the crops, and yoink them out of the ground and put them in a chest and sell them later or craft with them, you were completely fine to do that, but not anymore, unfortunately. So the argument is, oh, the economy will adjust and the prices on crops will rise. That is untrue. Let me explain how. For instance, crops were around 300 to 350 in 2020. This Bright Leaf Comfrey is currently estimated at $3.99, so it did go up by 50 silver. The Burdock here is at 450, so it went up by about 100 silver, okay? Not a lot. For it to match the cost of premium, it would have to have tripled, because premium, remember, was 6 million silver. Now it is 18 million silver. Therefore, the price of crops would have to go from 350 to like 1,200 something. Let's see, 350 times 3. It'd have to be at 1,050 silver for it to have matched the cost of premium. And it's not ever going to get that high. Let's talk about the skin market. Skins, mount skins and whatnot. They were rare. They were never to be in rotation ever again. Once a skin released, if you didn't get that skin early, then there was no way to get it ever again other than buying it from another player, which meant you could buy the skins and sit on them for a few years and then resell them if you wanted for a massive, massive profit. It was a pretty much guaranteed way to secure your money from inflation. People spent billions on skins, converting their silver to skins, myself included. And then randomly in 2023, one day they just randomly dropped, hey, we're going to reintroduce skins. Now, not all skins were reintroduced. There was a cutoff point for the very early referral skins, like Ghost Wolf, which I still have. So those will retain their value of being ever so rare and exclusive to the West server. For now, who knows if they decide to reintroduce it later in the future. But it was a massive ripple through the entire economy to the point where lots of players quit. Lots of players lost their entire fortune because mount skins that were worth 600 million dropped down to about 3 million. Like a 99% decrease in value. This hurt so many players. I happened to be a little bit lucky during this market crash because I was like, I'm just going to sell the skins because I have a bad feeling about this East server crap. I feel like they're going to reintroduce the skins, and my gut instinct was right. They did. So I sold my skins before the announcement happened, and I got to keep that money, so Focus alts. For those that don't know what a focus alt is, it is when you make a brand new character, it gets 3 days of premium for free, and then you let it set and marinate for 3 days, giving you 29,999 focus. You can then take that character and do some crafting with it and get some nice returns. So no one was doing this in 2020, so I made a video on how to do it, and then the economy tanked. So it became useless for a while. And then in 2023, I made a members-only video about it because people aren't going to dig up the old video on how to do it because they don't want to scroll through 500 videos to find it. And leakers, we've been having a problem with leakers lately on the members, side of things. They leaked it, and then the complete economy tanked because people were apparently botting it. Yikes. And I was partly due to that leak because in one of my videos, I was comparing a Big Lips McGee statement where he says, focus alts make 1 million silver a month, and I was like, no, they make 1 million silver in one click. And the unfortunate reality of focus alts is you have to do a mountain of math to see if they're profitable or just burn one. I mean, they only take 15 minutes and then 3 days of AFK to make, technically. And you should still profit a little bit, but sometimes if everyone's doing it and then no one's buying the product, it can sting a little bit, especially when you're sitting on that inventory, having to undercut every single person that's also doing it, which will burn through a lot of silver. Let's talk about gear power creep in 2023. So power creep is when the game introduces new, higher, stronger, better weapons and armor, which makes the old, strongest possible weapons and armor completely irrelevant. So what that means is back in the day, we had 8.3 masterpiece items as the strongest items in the game. So we have this 8.3 masterpiece great axe. It's currently worth 7 million silver. This was over 100 million silver back in the day. The battle axe, 6.41 million. Again, over 100 million silver back in the day whenever 0.3 was the maximum power enchantment level. Also, unrelated, the cost of mammoths has steadily risen over the years. In 2020, I think I paid only 60 million for a transport mammoth of masterpiece quality. Now they're 160 million about. They keep going up and down a bit. The highest I've seen them is 166 million. I think I can get a little bit more for this one than 159 million. But why did they triple in price? I don't honestly really know. So what does this all mean? How do we make fast silver in 2023? Well, it's not really fast anymore. Skinning at tier 8 in a tier 4 zone will make you about 1.2 million per hour. Stone mining is possibly good next patch. It was good for a point when everyone panic bought the travertine, but it's back to normal values. Tier 4 ratting in the mists or open world bosses, that means using a bedrock mace and just knocking people into mobs and killing them. Pretty good stuff, but you have to rely on players being there and luck and skill. It's not consistent. Same thing with the mists. You're going to need maximum spec and a meme, like gear set, which I made a video about how to rat mists. That can make you well over 1 million per hour, but again, it's completely luck dependent. If you're constantly getting killed for being a rat, or it's all 8.3 and 8.4 players in your mists, you're not going to make many plays because they're not going to mess up, and they're really hard to kill. Ganking heart transports is, for me, it's good money, but you need maximum specs, 8.4 gear, bridge watch flagged up so you have the move speed bonus from the mount. There's so many factors that most players won't be able to achieve, and even then it's still difficult, and it requires that you play during prime time, because if I went, like right now, it's, I think it's like, wow, the time is all janked, but I think it's like 4 or 5 a.m. UTC or something. If I went heart transport ganking right now, I might get 1 or 2 people in the full hour, which is only like 400,000 silver. So it's not very good right now, but during prime time, it's pretty good. You can also just yoink scraps from red zone gankers. So the way red zone gankers work is most of them are pretty wealthy. What they do is, they'll go like camp a zone, and then when they kill a transporter that's transporting junk, well, they don't need the junk, so they just leave it rotting on the ground. They don't even bother to throw it away. And like a vulture, after a few minutes, you can ride up to it on an ox. Hopefully they don't also kill you, but you can sometimes take some pickings that they don't want, and that could be like anywhere from 400,000 to 500,000. It really depends on the kill. I can't talk. It depends entirely on what the loot is. If it's like tier 2 and tier 3 or flat 4 crap that's damaged, you might have to pay a repair, fee, but if items suddenly go up in value, it might be worth repairing, it might not. You can always hold on to it until then. Like, just picking off scraps from gankers, like, look at all the crap that I have here. 1.89 million in just random junk, but at the same time, even though this stuff is damaged and you can't sell if it's damaged, you could technically still use it when doing red zone activities, right? Like, I could put on this 23% durability hunter hood and go have some fights with it, so it's not entirely useless. But to the gankers, they don't need these flat 4 hunter hoods, they don't care, so they just leave it on the ground for anyone to have. So that's the video on how to make fast silver, or can you make fast silver in Albion Online? What's the method? Well, this is more of a discussion than a guide, really. But essentially, it was so much easier back in the day, and premium was cheaper. I weep for new players. If I was a new player in 2023, I'd have already quit long ago. I wouldn't have kept going. Man, is it tough for new players. I'm telling you what, it is brutal, but you know what's easier for new players is credit card swiping. Because of the cost of premium, that means the gold is worth more silver than it was before, which means you can buy more. Like, if you just bought gold, like, through the cash shop, which was at 19,000 19,000 gold for $100. That is way better value. That is triple the value than 3 years ago, because of the, you would only get 1/3 of the amount of silver, and the item prices are about the same. 8.3 Masterpiece is about the same cost as an 8.4 Masterpiece these days. Of course, these days now, the 8.3s are completely worthless at like 6 million. So anyway, the point is that credit card swiping is the way to go if you can, if you're in a country that allows it. I moved not too long ago, and I went from having to work like a month straight to be able to buy gold to working 4 hours, so that's nice. 4 to 5 hours, and I can afford premium with real-life job, wagey work monies, but I'm still not going to get a job at McDonald's. I'd rather just die. The point is, I don't know. I don't know what the point is, but, yeah, it's going to be a struggle. The grind got even harder. Oh, and of course, back in the day, maximum spec was level 100, and now it's 120, which costs so much silver and combat fame credits. Oh my goodness. so dang much. Also, satchels didn't exist back then to drain your silver, so fame farming was much harder, but it's whatever. That's all I've got for this video. I'm SoulBenji, thanks for watching. As always, be a bro and stay swole. If you want help making more silver, you can become a channel member. Click the join button down below. It is $5 a month. Like on Twitch, when you subscribe to, a Twitch channel, you pay $5. Here on YouTube, you get access to private and more personal videos that only members can watch. And there are advanced guides, flipping guides, and just really useful information that might help you benefit in Albion Online. With that said, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next video, and go ahead and click the video on the right side of your screen. It's a big, beefy, juicy one. Take care.